Hi, this morning we're going to talk about some of the human factors in interior design. Because who are we designing for? It's people. So knowing something about people will help us be better designers. So let's look at some of the human factors. And when we're studying human factors, that is called anthropometrics, the study of the human body, how it's sized, how it's proportioned, how the body moves, what is our reach factors, how do we as people work. So we know that there's been lots and lots of studies done, and we want to have the optimum dimensions required for our performance of our common activities, bending, reaching, pulling. So when we're taking this into consideration, we have to look at three factors. What is the room width? What is the height of the shelving? And what are the clearances around furniture? Because we need to look at how all of these things interact with us, people. So when we're looking at this, when we're doing space planning, we not only have to look at the furniture of the footprint, we also have to look how the furniture functions. Are there drawers or are there doors that come out and take up space? And not only that, but the people that are using it. So you can see in this illustration that we have two people and they're using lateral file cabinets. Now depending on the height and whether they're having to stand to look in the cabinet, whether they're having to squat down and get on that bottom shelf, we can see that we have to look at that footprint of not only the piece of furniture, that when we see the size of the furniture that is taking up that landing, but also the function of the furniture, doors and drawers, anything that pulls open or swings open. We need to take that into consideration as well. Now the footprint is 18 to 22 inches that you can see. The drawer space as it pulls out is about 20 inches. And then we have to take into consideration the person standing there using the drawer. Same thing when we squat down, because when we squat down we take up much more room. We have more leg width. So 24 to 36 inches. So this whole general area has to be taken into consideration when you're planning to put your furniture in. If we're putting this piece of furniture in and we put another desk right here, this isn't going to be very functional. So we have to plan for not only the footprint, the function, and the person using it when we're doing space planning. Other things that we take into consideration is work offices and workspace. Nobody likes to be cramped. So when we're looking at actual desk spacing and then the person using it, how will they function, how do they interact with the piece of furniture, and how much space do they need to interact with that. Same thing with work secretarial chairs. We know that we've measured enough people. Now, not one size fits all, we already know that, because we just people watch for a few minutes and you can see we have big people, little people, handicapped people, short people. It's a plethora of individuals. So we are looking at, especially office furniture, those sizes that kind of fits all, where we're looking at adjustments. So if we have somebody who is 6 foot, we want to be able to adjust that chair for the person who is 5'4" or 4'11", because that one size is kind of like that old Three Bears story. One's too big, one's too small. Well, we want this to be just right for whoever is sitting in that chair that day. If you've ever been in a classroom, you know that somebody tall has adjusted the chair to a higher height than what might be comfortable for you, and vice versa. So this is where we want to look at office furniture to where it's adjustable, and the mean or the average size person is what we're looking at, because we can't retrofit for everyone. So we're looking at the average height and size of a person. Where is the capital bend? Where do the knees usually bend? How high is it usually for this seat? How deep is it to sit comfortably to where your back is sitting at the backrest? And how high is this lumbar need to be to fit? Well, again, not one size fits all. So we want these items to literally be adjustable to where it's the most comfortable as it can be for the individual using it. Now, standard general purpose chairs take this into consideration as well, like for theater seating, stadium seating, that goes by the average mean of the person, what's comfortable to the most. Now, typically when we're sitting around tables, we need to design that we have at least 24 inches per person that's sitting around the table. As you can see, as these little individuals, it takes about 24 inches per person to be comfortable, to be users. So we have two different styles of tables. We have rectangular tables and we have round tables. Rectangular tables, of course, they're going to be more formal, and we have to take into consideration the status of the people who are using it. Because as you know, if this is a formal board meeting, you know who's sitting on the end. Well, it's not the intern. It would be the CEO, the president, the highest person in authority, has the position of authority, which is the end of the table. If this is an informal dining room table, you're having Thanksgiving dinner at your house. Who's sitting at the head of the table? Probably the head of the household, whoever that individual might be. You know that the 2-year-old's probably not going to be sitting here. It will be head of household. So we do take into consideration those status factors when we're designing as well. So if this is something that we want to use in our design, consider the status of the people who are also using it. Now when we're using round tables, those are less formal and they don't have an implication of status. So wherever we need to have collaboration, everybody's on equal ground, round tables really give that feel. If you'll remember the story, King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table. He was the king, but yet he had all of his knights around here because everyone was considered equal. There was no higher, there was no lower. And that's really the feeling when we set people around a round table, because there is no position of status. So those work well when we need to collaborate. Okay, distances and spacing when we're planning for this rectangular table. As we said, we need 24 inches per person that's sitting around the table. If we're concluding elbow height or elbow room, 30 inches per person, that's comfortable. Round table, same consideration. So we have 24 inches per person, and then from edge of table to edge of table, usually about 48 inches. But we have to take into consideration the back siding of these chairs. So we need 18 to 24 inches for this person to sit comfortably at the table as well. As we need 24 inches for the person to stand up, push the chair back, because when you stand up, you push the chair back away and stand. So you quite literally need that space. So we don't put these right up against a wall where they have to do the crab crawl or scoot out the side to get out of a chair. So when we're visually looking at it, this would be the space for this person. This is what we identify and claim. So each person has their own area, and with this central area being neutral. Kitchen spaces are a little more in depth when we're looking at clearances for these. These are some of the basic guidelines. Whether you're doing a stove, the distance clearance between the top of a cook surface and a reach area for height, for shelving. Whether you're bending to reach into a stove, of course we need more room for the footprint of the furniture or the appliance, the functioning, which would be the opening door, and the person using the appliance. The same thing for wall ovens, and heights and clearance and distances. These are some of the basic footprints that we need to use. This will be discussed in further detail in kitchen and bath class. Thank you for your time, and I hope you learned a little bit about space planning.